Nancy Mace is on the verge of facing criminal charges, and between her and Mike Johnson, it's hard to say who's having the worst night. That alone tells you everything about the current state of the House of Representatives. MAGA Republicans are in open revolt against Donald Trump and his puppet leader, Mike Johnson, and the situation keeps getting worse. Nancy Mace, who only weeks ago was threatening to resign from Congress, is now facing a potential criminal referral as the House investigates her. This could not come at a worse time, not just with the midterms approaching, but for an already collapsing present moment. We're going to break it all down, but before we do, please leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy the channel, hit that subscribe button because it truly helps support our work. Now, while the breaking news about Nancy Mace is significant on its own, the consequences go far beyond just her. That's why we need to start with other developments that directly threaten Mike Johnson's ability to remain Speaker even for the next few months, because we already know he won't survive past 2026. And this particular news is critical to understanding the larger story unfolding right now. Governor Gavin Newsom not doing any favors for Speaker Mike Johnson in GOP-led House. He calls August 4th special election to fill Representative Doug LaMalfa's seat for the rest of his term, ending at the end of 2026, waiting until the last possible day to hold the election under state law. But it is not just California, because Mike Johnson also has problems in Virginia, where Senate Democrats are making clear that although they respect Senator Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, they don't need coaching on their redistricting because they are focused on getting a 10-to-1 Democrat redeast in Virginia. This is where things stand for Mike Johnson right now. He's not getting the Republican replacement he wants in a California seat because Gavin Newsom is pushing that election as far down the line as possible. And it somehow gets even worse when you look at Virginia, where the maps are shaping up to be 10-to-1. It could not be going worse for him. What makes this so damaging is that this was all supposed to be part of Trump's 4D chess plan. Redistrict Texas, grab more seats, lock in power. Instead, it's completely backfired. To pull it off, Republicans created plus 10 and plus 15 districts instead of safe plus 30 seats. And now those districts are flippable for Democrats, especially with how badly Trump is governing. And that's why this matters for the Nancy Mace story we're about to get into. This isn't just bad news for Mike Johnson. It's a disaster for Donald Trump, who is now facing a MAGA revolt inside the House. And it only gets worse when you hear what Don Bacon is saying.
But to threaten countries who oppose his strange talk on Greenland is also absurd. And I think a lot of the stuff about invading Greenland, he says, I believe it's really being done for negotiating effect. But he says it almost every day, so I feel like people like me and others, we got to speak up and say it's wrong. You don't threaten a NATO ally. They've been a great ally. We've had bases on there since World War II. Denmark has fought with us by our side in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I feel like it's incumbent on folks like me to speak up and say that these threats and bullying of an ally are wrong. And just on the weird chance that he's serious about invading Greenland, I want to let him know that would probably be the end of his presidency. Most Republicans know this is immoral and wrong, and we're going to stand up against it.
So what would happen if he decided to use military force to take over Greenland?
Well, I think one way or the other way, whether it's even Republican control or if it's Democrat control after November, I think it would lead to impeachment. I think it's invading ally, to me, is a high crime and misdemeanor. And we have a treaty, we have the NATO agreement, and it would be basically severing this whole agreement and invading an ally, a democracy. It's immoral, it's wrong.
Mike Johnson is now watching the House actively revolt against him. Republicans have completely turned on their own speaker. He's dealing with members dying, others being injured or unable to travel, and resignations that keep shrinking his already razor-thin majority. Don Bacon even threatened to resign, and now some Republicans are openly floating impeachment if Trump moves forward with something as extreme as invading Greenland. On top of that, Johnson is being repeatedly overruled through discharge petitions, which means he's barely functioning as Speaker at this point. In reality, he's holding the title in name only, clinging to a majority so thin that there's no relief coming. And it may get even smaller. And things could unravel further. Nancy Mace, who is currently focused on running for governor of South Carolina, has now landed herself in a serious House controversy that threatens to blow this entire situation wide open and make Johnson's grip on power even weaker. Nancy Mace under House ethics investigation. The House Ethics Committee announced on Friday afternoon that Representative Nancy Mace was under investigation by the Office of Congressional Conduct, as pointed out by Business Insider's Brian Measer. It is not known yet why Mace is being investigated, considering the timing at the beginning of December. It may relate to an incident at the Charleston International Airport just a month prior, in which he reportedly berated airport police. In an internal investigation report, accused Mace of overreacting to a miscommunication about her travel security, causing a spectacle, calling the police effing idiots and effing incompetent. Mace has disputed the allegations in the report, which he claimed were falsified. The press release posted on the committee's website noted that Mace, who is running in a crowded GOP primary to be South Carolina's next governor, was the subject of a matter that has been referred by the OC on December 2nd. The committee notes that the mere fact of a referral or an extension in the mandatory disclosure of such an extension in the name of the subject of the matter does not itself indicate that any violation has occurred or reflect any judgment on behalf of the committee. The press release noted, adding that it would announce its course of action in this matter on or before March 2nd, 2026. According to the OC's website, both the House Ethics Committee and the OC share responsibility regarding alleged ethical violations by House members, officers, and employees, describing the cooperative process as follows. The OC is a nonpartisan independent entity established by the House in 2008 to conduct initial reviews of allegations of misconduct and, when warranted, refer matters to the Committee on Ethics, which has exclusive JUR jurisdiction to find violations and impose punishment. The Committee on Ethics can also initiate its own investigation without a referral from the OC. Thus far, Mace has not commented on the investigation on either her personal or congressional accounts on Twitter. Her only tweet since the news broke about the investigation is a message warning her constituents about the frigid winter weather this weekend. There's a lot to unpack here. And that's why it's important to start with the broader context, the non-stop bad news piling up for Mike Johnson, the growing internal revolt against Donald Trump, and what all of this signals heading into 2026. If you remember any House investigation, think back to Matt Gaetz. When it became clear that a damning ethics report was about to come out, Gaetz resigned from Congress. He did that for one simple reason. Once you're no longer a member, those internal reports can't be released. He stepped aside just days before the end of his term and chose not to return, all to keep the findings buried. That's exactly why Nancy Mace's situation matters so much. She's running for governor of South Carolina, and if this ethics report is as damaging as it appears, it could completely destroy her campaign. So the obvious question is, why would she stay in Congress and allow it to come out? She's already giving up an easy re-election in a deep red seat, and she's openly talked, even with Marjorie Taylor Greene, about resigning before. If quitting keeps this report sealed, that option is clearly on the table. And if Nancy Mace resigns, Mike Johnson is in serious trouble. His majority is already hanging by a thread, and losing another seat could be the final blow. At that point, he's one step closer to handing the gavel to Hakeem Jeffries. This is happening alongside Gavin Newsom refusing to play along, and after Republicans like Greg Abbott delayed special elections to protect their numbers, meaning Johnson won't get any relief. His majority keeps shrinking, and there's no clear path out. I genuinely don't see how this works out well for either Mike Johnson or Nancy Mace. It's a disaster for them, a problem for Trump, and a huge warning sign heading into the midterms. And on top of all of that, new polling shows Trump sinking even further.
No, not a lot of differences. Look across the board. Just look at Donald Trump's net approval rating. Negative, 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 negative. Negative 14, negative 16, negative 17, and negative 19 according to AP Norc, with no real change in the aggregate from where we were last month. Trump is underwater like the New Jersey Jets.
How long has he been underwater?
How long has he been underwater? It shouldn't be so much of a surprise that there really has been no change up here. Why is it should not be a surprise? Because just take a look at the days that Trump has been underwater. We are talking about every single day in my aggregate of polls since March 12th of 2025. In terms of days in a row, we are talking about 310 days in a row that Donald Trump's net approval rating has been in the negative. And that is why, of course, I bring back the New Jersey Jets.
That's a long, long time. What issues? I was going to make a Jets joke.
Well, go ahead.
There are too many and not enough time.
I know, it's so easy.
Look, which issues, really, is the president doing well on?
Yeah, what issues is President Trump doing well on? None of them, really. He's doing poorly on all of them. What are we talking about here? Well, we spoke about immigration last hour. He's at a negative 11 points there, of course, had been a strength for him. Foreign policy, minus 14 points. The economy, the reason that Donald Trump really got elected to a second term was to fix the economy. He's at 16 points underwater there. Trade and tariffs, such a big part of his second term agenda. Negative 18 points there. And we really haven't spoken about the Epstein case in a while, but 38 points underwater there. Negative, 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 and negative on immigration.
You know, with the Epstein case so low, that very first sentence you said there, they might like. We haven't spoken about the Epstein case in a while. With all these other things going on, it hasn't received a lot of focus.
Perhaps the only good news for him.
All right. The economy, clearly the most important issue to the American people. A lot of questions about how President Trump is handling that. One person is key to that. That's Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
What a great day. I'm genuinely happy with this video, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Grab some popcorn. Maybe pop a bottle of champagne, pour yourself a glass of wine. Whatever your vibe is, it's that kind of night. How could this not make you smile? Nancy Mace is unraveling. Mike Johnson is unraveling. Trump is unraveling. It's honestly beautiful to watch, and we're going to keep bringing a little bit of hope to this show every single day. If you want to support that, as always, hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.